Hey guys, welcome to my Security Guard podcast. This is number 1 for my channel, Advancing Security. Feel free to just let me be played in the background as you're driving, lifting, cleaning the house, cleaning your firearm and stuff like that. I'm gonna be drinking a Coors Light. I'm gonna be talking about some topics. As far as the topics I'm gonna be hitting today, or some of the segments, hopefully I'll hit within the span of 20 or 30 minutes, is gonna be, the deaths of security guard, emergency action plan. Maybe I'll have a little review of a knife and my EDC knife and my EDC firearm, right? I'm shooting my scenery. If you can't see, it's Christmas tree to my right and chaos and thunderstorms to my left. It is winter, it's December, Christmas time. And I think the TV screen really highlights what we're going through with security on some symbolic level right now. What security was 5 years ago, like I said in my last upload, is not what it is today. And due to all the deaths, the 3 different types of deaths we're seeing, makes me question, like I said in my other video, is it deadly to be an average security guard? So check this out. I lost a brother. Not me. I'm reading something from cbs.58.com news. 1 dead after argument leads to shooting near 6th and Vine. This happened in Milwaukee, December 6th at approximately 11:20 p.m. at the Days Inn and Suites. A security guard named, his name was Santano. His friends called him Rico. It was a security guard. He got shot. It was hotel security and got shot. That's the 3rd hotel security that dies through shooting since I started recording security guard deaths on my channel. The reason I talk about this stuff, and it's because nobody else is talking about it. Not even the other security guard channels that have, they've been around for a lot longer than me. They make better, happier content than me. They do reviews and stuff like that, so they get more traction. And I get it. Nobody wants to hear bad news. I'm the guy that's gonna give you the bad news. I'm gonna give it to you raw because nobody wants to talk about it. It makes really bad content. And then also, no security guard instructors want to talk to you about that stuff when you get into security. This is one of the many dark things about being a security guard, right? They don't want to talk to you about how deadly it is, because if so, you're not going to want to take that minimum wage entry-level security guard job, because most security guard jobs are minimum wage. They're entry level. One of the themes in my channel is I want to help you get to $50,000. $50,000 is a reasonable income within the United States right now for a modern family. If you're single, $50,000 is great, especially if you have no kids. If you're a family, that means one of you guys can work full time and the other one can work part time, depending on your current situation and lifestyle. So I shoot for $50K to tell you how to get there, because that's the max I've done also in security. A little bit more than $50K. I haven't broken 60 yet. Hopefully I'll get there soon. And I think it's doable. And your life changes dramatically when you're just making $28,000 and you go to $50,000. You can afford things. You can afford training. Money is a tool. It gives you access to things. So if the truth was to be told to you guys, you will not want to be part of security, because security is supposed to be expensive. You have somebody that's gonna be your first line of defense, and they're being put in harm's way. We're always being put in harm's way, even if we are ignorant about it. Security is strategically put in the entry levels. In the entry points of every post. Why is that? We do something called AC, access control. And before the bad guy could come in, they are not professional bad guys. Let's be honest. A lot of the people that do stupid stuff and get caught, they're not professionals. The professionals eat security like nothing. The professional criminals there in real life will eat security tactics like if it was nothing. That's why we have to call 911. We have to carry firearms and have bulletproof vests on and have emergency action plans and things like that. Because average security guard, trash for the professional criminal. That's all we are, right? And I'm putting myself there also, just because the more you know, you don't know. Just being honest with you guys. And it's like, I'm a martial artist, right? I'm a self-defense instructor, and the more I know, the more I'm scared of fighting. I can do it. Like, I'm not fearful of fighting, but the more I'm scared to do it because I know the consequences, and I know all the many variables that can go against my attributes and my skill. And I look at this young man, 28 years old, Jose Santano, hotel security, and he's gone. Average security guard, as far as I'm aware. I'm not sure what his skill level was, right? Or his abilities, his paycheck or whatever. Then you have somebody like Kevin Ishida, a veteran police officer, highly decorated, won the chief award in his department, you know, one of the highest awards in his department, and he's gone. He's gone. I'm somewhere between there, right? And there's constantly somebody being shot or killed in one way or another every week since I've been reporting. If you're a security guard, you don't hear that shit about law enforcement. You don't hear that shit about fucking military. Why is that? It's because a lot of security guards don't respect the job. Clients don't respect our duties, and bosses, management, don't want to tell you the truth, and they don't respect the job either. A lot of them don't. Now, I'm saying that based on my personal experience and other people's experiences. I'm not saying there are not good security guards out there. They're not good clients, and they're not good agencies. You know, I'm not saying that. And it sucks because we don't have the numbers to know how many good companies there are. Because, you know, one rotten apple can ruin it for all of us, right? And then we gain the wrong information. Let's talk about the SOP and the EAP. SOP is standard operational procedures, and a lot of security guards don't invest in them. EAP is emergency action plans, and a lot of security guards have no idea what the heck that even is. They just don't. They just don't. The standard operational procedures is just a general guideline of what your everyday job should look like. It's not highly detailed. It tells you where your patrols should be, what are the type of typical things you should look for when patrolling, when you should clock in, when you should clock out, how to make how to make electrical card keys, or, you know, how to check for IDs, how to document things. Basic stuff. That's pretty much general everywhere. And then the more you do your job, the more you're supposed to detail and customize that based on your current situation, your current skill level. The situation can change from time to time with the SOP. For example, there's some buildings I've worked at, they say if the person has no ID, they cannot come in. And then that's what's written on paper. That's what the SOP says. The client is not okay with that. The agency writes that up to protect themselves and put the blame on you. So as a slick security guard, what you need to do is, if they're coming with somebody that has ID, let's say that they're a pair, one has ID, the one doesn't, you should get that person's ID, document the full address, ask them for their phone number, and ask them to vouch for the person that's coming with them. You could do the same thing with guests in a residential building or a community or whatever it is, right? And the purpose, and it's because if you understand the purpose of documentation is that you're trying to create a paper trail that could generate leads and let these guests know there will be consequences if something were to go wrong. Somebody will answer for this. clients will say yes to this type of policy, to this type of procedures, right? Though the agency will say no to it. If the client says yes and it's their property, it's up to you to decide what you're going to do. And a lot of security is being slick. You're not really breaking the rules, you're bending the rules. Because at the end of the day, the agency is going to do what the client wants. 9 times out of 10. Unless it's something that's really, that's going to make them liable, 9 times out of 10, they're going to just do it. So what you do is, you inform your supervisor, you inform your company through a text message. You can CC the client on it. And then your supervisor saying, hey, client James Johnson said that we can do this, this bypass of this procedure we have where nobody without ID can come in. Boom. I just customized the SOP. And I can update our guidebook, our SOP, for the next guard and give them an example of how I did it and who has okayed it. Until further notice, and I could timestamp it, this is what we're doing from now on. I just customize it. It's no longer it's black and white. No, because there has to be exceptions to many rules. Rules exist to lead and control the ignorant and dummies and weak people. Weak people. Weak of mind, weak of education, whatever, right? Whatever, however you want to word it. Because if you notice the way the government works and the way society works, when you're smart, you could get away with murder. Like all those people on Wall Street that steal a whole bunch of stuff and don't see no time. Same thing goes for politicians. Look at what Cuomo did with the whole elderly situation. He just got run out of office through the Me Too movement. But he should have gotten run out of office, not just through that, but through what happened with the elder. But that's not security related. So I'm just giving you an example of life and how rules work for some and for others, right? Now, the EAP, the Emergency Action Plan, it's the next level after the SOP. Now, Emergency Action Plan, that is the things hit the fan situation. You won the lottery that day and there was a flooding, there was a fire, there was a shooting, there was a break-in, whatever, a smash and grab. It's supposed to give you a general idea of what to do. And the longer you're in that job, the longer you master your post, you've invested in your post, because when you invest in your post, you're investing in yourself. Because you're investing in your own safety, right? Which allows you to protect the client's property and the clients themselves. And just makes you look more professional because you're invested in the company, right? There's going to be many different types of situations that you're going to face as a security guard. Not all of them are going to be dangerous, but I like to say one day out of every 100 days, you're gonna have to use the EAP. And it could be for something like if somebody's stuck in the elevator. There was a blackout. There was a fire. There was a fight. There was a robbery in your post. There's currently a robbery happening, and you're there. So robbery, saying that already happened, and then there's a crime in progress right now in your building. I remember one time I don't know if I said this or not, but I was working a building as hotel security concierge, right? They blended both roles. Before I started working there, there was one security personnel in the lobby, and then there was a concierge, and then they merged them together to save some money. It was a company trying to be slick. It is what it is. I did the job for about 9 months. One day I come to work, and the person I'm about to relieve, I'm seeing like NYPD in front of the building, and they're telling, and I'm like, yo, what happened? Why are the cops? Are they here for us? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what happened? It was an interesting situation. One of our clients, one of the people renting out the hotel that was going to be there for about 3 months, he went to a nightclub. It was a party guy. He came into the building with two hotties, and they dipped some drugs into his drink. They did whatever they did, and they stole his Rolex, they stole his jewelry, whatever. And around 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning, he woke up really messed up. I've never seen this guy smashed ever, like really messed up from drinking. He's a slick guy. He was a ladies' man and everything. And he went inside the purse of one of the girls that was still there. He took the ID out and he passed out again. And he wound up waking up like 2 minutes before, as his last guest, his last hottie was leaving his apartment or his suite. He calls security and he tells my boy, yo, I just got robbed. This person is leaving the building now. Can you call 911? I'm missing all my stuff. So she's going down the elevator. My boy sees on the CCTV she's on the elevator. He gives a quick description. My boy's from the streets, you know what I'm saying? So he's quick to catch on. And he just locks the entrances to the lobby where you can still leave if you have a key card. And what he winds up doing is he just plays dumb, like, oh wait, I can't find the key, just give me a moment, let me call my manager. But he already called NYPD. He called NYPD. His client called NYPD because it was like a 30-second ride. It happened all in split seconds. And then she got arrested. She had a couple of interesting items inside of her body. You know, she got searched. We wanted getting word from detectives, and we had to write incident reports and stuff like that. And it was very interesting. This guy was slick. He had an emergency. Somebody was robbing. It was a crime kind of in progress. These ladies drugged one of our clients. She could have always left the building through the emergency access, right? Because obviously every building has emergency access. And you know, this happened years ago, and he was just being slick about it. You know, he was just doing everything very slow. You know, like, oh, let me look. Oh, it's not in this drawer. Oh, it's not in this drawer either. It's probably in this drawer. I found it. And then when he finds it right there, boom. Coincidentally, NYPD's there. So you gotta master your post. You gotta master, you know, SOP. You gotta see what type of emergencies you can possibly face. Because we were near a couple of nightclubs. We knew I remember working there, and people we passed out like halfway into their rooms because they were drinking so heavy. You know, younger millennials in their early 20s. They had enough funds to be able to rent that place, because that place was expensive, man. I'm telling you. So you gotta master your emergency action plan. You have to have an idea and pretend on some level what can possibly happen. And I share these information with you guys because you might face these situations in the future. And the type of, you know, disparate, the type of things we can face as guards, there's endless, because people are gonna be creative and people are stupid. They're gonna be creative and we're stupid, right? You know what I'm saying? And if you don't have an idea of what can possibly happen, how are you going to generate a response to it? So you document that story, you know, you keep some details out because liability issues, and you keep some names out, but you know, and then you create an SOP on that. Combatives are very important. That's, I think, is like goes along with the EAP, emergency action plans, because the combatives is your emergency action plan for your personal safety or the safety of other people. Let me take out this website. Give me a second. So I'm looking at the Bureau Label of the Statistics, right? Bureau Label of Statistics. I'm looking into sports and exercise amongst Americans. And they break this information down into percentages. And this information was gathered between 2011 and 2015, and it was released in 2016. I must show to you how important combatives are. Studying martial arts, self-defense, and stuff. Because sometimes we don't want to invest We don't want to work hard. We don't want to sweat and stuff like that. I'm not telling you to get 6-pack abs. I'm not telling you to be a black belt. I'm telling you to just get an idea of what fighting is and self-defense is. So, about 30% of the population walks. About 9 to 10% lifts weights. 9 to 10% runs. 9 to 10% does, use cardiovascular equipment. About 7% surfs, swims, and skis in water. Now, let me see. Bowling, football. Look, about 1 to 2% people play football. About less than 1% of people do wrestling. Less than 1% of people. Oh, it actually has an actual specific. All right, so 0.1% of people does wrestling. Give me a second, guys. Trying to get these commercials out of my thing. I just want the thunderstorm in the background. Oh, this is a switch. God damn it. Anyways, so yeah, 0.1% does wrestling. 0.2% does hockey. 0.3% of people do martial arts. That says a little bit of people know how to fight. And the funny thing, most people that know how to fight don't fight. Most of the people that work out don't get into a lot of physical conflict because they constantly have endorphins. They have a more healthier lifestyle. They have more of a balanced life. But that's only a percentage of the American population. That means a more majority of the population don't do anything. Especially if you live in an urban environment, in a big city. People working too much. They're drinking heavily, they're trying to mitigate their stress one way or another. But what I'm trying to say is that they're very unbalanced. And especially because of 2020, a lot of people have become mentally unhealthy. Not in a way that they cannot recover from it, or that it's so mentally unhealthy, like it's super PTSD. It's that, they have some trauma because of 2020, the lockdowns, the gaslighting from the government, or better yet, from the media, because the media is one of the biggest problems we have. They tell you half a truth, and then the rest they exaggerate just to get likes and clicks and, airtime. Because without the drama, you ain't gonna watch anything. So you need to invest in combatives. You need to. Because if you just have a little bit more skill, the person that you're confronting or that they're confronting you, that you're facing off with, you have the edge. Talking about edges, you want to become a black belt in grappling in 3.5 seconds? We'll give you a secret right now. This right here. This right here will make you a BJJ black belt in 3.5 seconds. What am I talking about? Most grapplers, wrestling, first of all, few people do it. 0.1% people do wrestling in the United States. Even less of a number than that does BJJ or does MMA, grappling, right? What does that have to do with this? This is part of my EDC for the winter. And it's because it's bigger than my everyday knife. It gives me more options. My everyday pocket knife that I tend to carry for self-defense and, as a multi-tool, it's only about 2 inches long, right? This is about 3.5, I want to say. It has more penetrating power if I need to poke some holes into some boxes, right? And people are wearing coats. With the other knife I have, the only target zone I feel I have will be the eyes, the face, throat, and maybe, I guess, the hands, right? This gives me more options. So 3.5 seconds, where do I get that number from? It's about how long it takes for me to deploy this. Reach for it and bring it out. Why is that? Most people that grapple don't grapple with this. Don't use this. Don't grapple against this. They just don't do it. It's too real. People love living in fantasy. It's too real, and it makes 95% of all the grappling techniques you learn useless. Because you're focusing on a specific area of the body. If you're doing an arm bar, you're focusing on one arm. You're not focusing about the other arm. You're not. You're doing an arm bar. I can resist for about 2 to 3 seconds, depending if I'm holding onto a garment or not, depending on how you can break my own hold or whatever. Why I have the moment, boom, the leg, an artery, a lot of bleeding. Yeah, I'm gonna lose an arm, probably. Or there's a 50% chance I won't lose the arm, and you'll lose the leg, depending on what kind of arm bar you're doing. Obviously, there are standing arm bars. This right away makes it so that you're a black belt. Why do I say that? It's also because if you could defeat a black belt, you're a black belt. Come, I'm being real with that, man. I'm being mad old school mentality with martial arts. If you could kick my ass and I'm a black belt, then you're a black belt. That's it. Simple as that. You know what? A good thing about learning about the edge, it makes you a karate black belt as well, or a boxing black belt, a champion right away. People underestimate this reverse grip a lot. They underestimate this. People don't know nothing about knives, that they don't even see the value of holding it like this, even if you have it in a thrust-like position. You know the value be holding it like this, with the edge up? If somebody were to try to disarm you, all I have to do is pull back a little bit or bring it up, depending on how sharp it is. And their technique is gone. Their combative is gone. They're gonna have to resort to something else and and figure it out in a split second while they're gushing red fluids, right? But you know what? There's a lot of different type of tools, and that's the thing about defensive tools. They are kind of like supplements, I want to say. These tools are like supplements, but for combative situations. Doing this for 6 weeks will defeat a martial artist practicing for 2 years. And it's because a lot of the curriculum is based on hand to hand. That means hands and hands, not hands and weapon, or not weapon on weapon. So understanding the way edge tools work, pepper spray works, it gives you the edge without having to put so much time and effort into martial art classes. A level above that is the classic firearm, right? Look, I rock the B6C in a sticky holster. The B6C is the bee's knees, you know? I always want to say the bee's knees. I honestly don't even know what that means, the bee's knees. But I've heard it enough times where I have the cojones to use it, you know? B6C. Let's do a quick review of the B6C. The B for badass. The C is for compact, right? So the B6C has no railings on it, so you can't really put anything on it. I'm sure there's lasers, things you could put on it. I'm sure you could send it to a gunsmith and they could put lines on it, and you could put some accessories. The B6C makes it so you have to focus on your jab and your cross. Makes it so that you have to focus on your basics, on your sights, on your dots, right? The good thing about B6C is that it's a great firearm for beginners. As a beginner, I'm speaking as a beginner who's a martial artist, and this is my first firearm. I have another one. I have the S9, which carries 18 plus 1. This is 13 plus 1. It has the safety on it, right? Red is ready for action. You don't have the red dot, you can't do nothing with it. Even if you pull the trigger, even I can't bring the hammer back. But I bring the hammer back and I put the safety, still doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't do anything. So what I like about this is that it makes you focus on the fundamentals. My cousin used to play baseball when he was in junior high and high school, and he told me the kids who had all the equipment were the worst players always. And it's because they lacked focus. Same thing happens with firearms, right? Same thing happens when you get into MMA. You buy the gloves, you get the gi, you get all the shin guards, the headgear. You get stuff you're not even ready for. You get it because it's cool, it makes you happy. And then 3 months later, you're selling it on eBay. So the B6C, why it's a great tool for beginners is because, another reason is because the real estate is right here. There's something called slide bites. That's pretty much when the slide goes back and you accidentally put a finger or a thumb near the slide and it takes a chunk out of you. It messes up with when you're firing. So it does so much. You get damaged, you get the chances of you missing your shot, and it gets you off of firearms because you hurt yourself. Now, once have I gotten a slide bite with this firearm, and I know I'm highly disciplined in what I do because of martial arts and everything, but it makes it almost impossible. If later on I'm gonna show the S9 in the future, maybe I'll do a review on that on the next podcast, not sure, but you'll see that the real estate here in this area is a lot less than this one. This one is bulky. You have enough width right there, right? Guys, you have to master your SOP, your EAP. You have to acknowledge that things can go wrong when you're working. We have to take the job more serious so we can increase the likelihood of success throughout our daily duties, and that we can increase the likelihood of us coming out on top during a life or death emergency situation. As security guards, we tend to put the EAP aside and the SOP aside and just be like, not all of us, obviously, but there's enough of us where that's the assumption for a lot of people. We do things incorrectly and a half-assed way, when in fact we should be approaching the EAP and SOP as if we were law enforcement or military. Why is that? Let me tell you something. Not all of the military fights, not all of law enforcement has been in a shooting situation. There's a lot of people who just do office work. There's a lot of people who just, they know their job so well, they never even have to they never have to unholster their tools, right? They never have to draw their weapon. I've met a few of them personally during security guard courses. That I've met law enforcement who has told me, I've never brought out my firearm or shot at a person before. I just never had a need to. Those people do exist. But they train and get educated like if they had to do that. But with security, we don't do that. See the level of seriousness of the job of a lot of people? Not everybody is an elite security guard. But to be an elite security guard, you have to take the information not just at face value, saying, okay, there was 6 shootings of security in November, but there's over 1 million of us. That doesn't even make 1% of us security guards. So why should I be worried about that? Because one day you might win the lottery of things hitting the fan. And you're going to say, damn, I wish I had a firearm or a pepper spray or a bulletproof vest or a knife on me when that happened, because I got messed up, or you're going to have a family member saying, damn, if he only or she only did this or had that. You're better off having it and not needing it, and the rest of that line. And that's the same way we have to treat our emergency action plans. We have to treat it like it's a possibility. There's certain things we have to be realistic of saying the likelihood of this happening is this small, but just in case it happens, I want to be ready. And you have to be ready with your SOP, EAP, and all that stuff, guys. You have to learn your combatives. You have to get instructions and everything. Guys, we already hit the 30-minute mark. That's in, that's that. If you like the video, please press like. Leave a comment down below saying when is number 2 coming out. Podcast, Security Guard Podcast number 2. Probably do it next month, next year. Subscribe if you want to continue to receive my videos. So that's it, that's that, guys. Take care of yourself, love yourself, get some training, wear your PPE. Take care, so love yourself. Lo quiero mucho. Chao.